Mm, 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 mm. Hello, I'm not muted now. Everything happens at the same time. Um, the the reason that the divine created time was so that everything wouldn't happen all at once. So I am in the flow of that right now. And I hope everyone is doing well. I am doing well. Um, I survived my encounter with the DNA on the other side of the Rocky Mountains where I keep it. It's not nearly that bad. It was actually a very good visit. Um, we'll have to do it again some decade or so. Um, and as you know, I have a whole bunch of windows that I have to open or close or silence or do something with, and I've just done most of them. So I've got a few more here. um, and so um, we are about to get started with the portion of our day that is uh, we're going to talk about a topic, and, or I should say, I am going to talk about a topic, and we will talk about that topic after our catalyst meditation. And I'm looking for something else here. And I'm going to stop looking for stuff in a minute. Um, um, so I took I had work in the southern part of our country. So I was in New Orleans and um, Atlanta and in Baton Rouge over the past week. So it's kind of like um, hotel room du jour. And I uh, everything was going really well with the trip. I mean, everything, all of my plane connections were made and no weather problems or anything like that. And so I was saying, as we began the daily meditation on the last day of my trip, that things were going really well. Now, why did I say that before the trip was over? Um, um, in on one segment of the trip from the Dallas Fort Worth to the Portland, Oregon part, everything that could possibly have gone wrong went wrong. It was actually I actually relaxed into it because it was like um, this is the journey from hell, so you might as well enjoy being in hell. And uh, everything the cap was that there was a 2-year old in the seat behind me, and they kicked my butt all 4 hours straight. And I said, okay, I'm going to just treat this as a massage. So okay, I'm getting worked over here. Um, um, But what I would suggest we do now is go ahead and get started um, uh, with our pre-meditation talk. And I'm going to go ahead and center myself here. Um, um, and yeah, let's do that. And I'm going to, I'll say this and then I'll say it. You'll notice that I hold my hands up and say, hello, everyone. And that's because I want to greet you. But it's also to give me a marker. So when I edit my tape, everything that comes before, I'm sorry, this is not tape, I'm dating myself. When I edit the digital recording, everything that goes before my hands gets just wiped out and makes life a little bit easier for me. So let me say, hello, everyone, and welcome to our pre-meditation talk. And today, what I wanted us to talk about is the we talked last time about a segment of our Catalyst meditation, and I want to focus on a different segment now. And this is the segment I want us to focus on is when we talk about us blending our energies. Now, you'll remember that before this, um, what uh, what we talk about is acknowledging all beings. And we acknowledge beings in a way that many of us don't normally think about. We acknowledge the beings and the sometimes invisible beings that have a deep impact on our lives. The meta beings, like we're living on a very, very, very huge dog. So we're the fleas on the dog. Um, and as long as we don't get too rambunctious, the dog tolerates us really well. When we get really rambunctious, the dog will start scratching and scratch us off. And it's important for us to have a good relationship with the dog. A better example would be um, the relationship between the hippopotamus and the birds that clean the hippopotamus's teeth. Um, After the hippo, it's early in the morning. A hippopotamus doesn't come out too many times the right way. Um, but after the hippo eats a meal, he or she sits in the river and just opens their mouth. And there are these birds that come in and just literally eat the food that's between the hippo's teeth. Now, the hippo gets a benefit from this. It gets a bright, sparkly smile, um, and but the birds also get a benefit from it. Um, they get a full meal of what's left over between the hippo's teeth. So this is an example of how two completely different beings blend their energies. And Becky, I'm going to ask you a favor. If you can I don't know if you can or not, but if you can lower your camera just a little bit so I can see more of your face, because your name is blocking it in my view. And so there you go. So so we have the same kind of relationships with thousands and thousands of other beings, beings that we need for our food, beings that we need for our digestion, beings that we need for our eyesight, beings that we need for our the our positive flow in life, and we generally ignore them, and we generally turn our backs to them, and when we get out of balance, we kill them. That's what Pepto-Bismol is for. That's what Imodium is for, to kill all the beings in your stomach. And if you kill enough of them, you'll feel better. Um, I, we, human beings, need to have a very different kind of relationship with each other. And we need to have a different kind of relationship with the beings that we are in concert with. Um, the one of the reasons we get out of balance with other beings is that we have um, a strange relationship with life, in that we um, equate value with money, we equate life with money, we equate our relationships with everything, including our relationship with the divine, to money. Um, Someone, and it may have been someone on this call, I don't remember what the context was, and this is recent, where someone said that the reason that uh, the folks out west in the early days decimated the buffalo was because they were trying to kill off the food source of the Native Americans and subjugate them. And I disagreed. I seriously disagree with that. I don't think that much thought was involved. I think it was simply, if I kill that buffalo, I make $1. That's how much the buffalo hides were going for. If I kill 10 buffaloes, I make $10, and $10 was a lot of money back then. If I kill 100 buffaloes, I make $100. Do the math, and you just keep killing. That consciousness has been with us for a very, very long time. Um, the It's the same consciousness that takes all the fish out of the ocean. It's the same consciousness that takes all the nutrients out of the land and led to the Dust Bowl. And that consciousness is energy is money, and it all belongs to me. That consciousness is still in operation right now, every single day. That is one of the main consciousnesses that we're trying to change. And part of the reason that we're trying to change that, part of the way we're trying to change that, is by changing our relationship to the energy itself. Let's talk about energy for a second. Um, I may have mentioned, and if I didn't, I'm going to mention it now, that if you look at a bullet and you look at a big firecracker, there's much more gunpowder in the firecracker than there is in the bullet. The reason that firecrackers don't kill people every time you set one off is because the energy, although there's a lot more gunpowder, the energy is diffused. The energy goes in every possible direction. I was going to say 360 degrees, but there's a whole lot more degrees in a sphere, so it goes everywhere. And because of that, it doesn't do anything. That's where human energy is right now. The places where we are focusing it are places where somebody thinks that they can make money. The places where we don't focus it is on everything that's important. We need to change that picture. And our ability to change the picture comes from us doing what we're doing right now, or what we will be doing in 15 minutes. The energy of the bullet focuses all of the powder, focuses all of the energy of the bullet in one direction, and that's the direction that you want the bullet to go in. So we have to focus our energy. The focus of the energy is in our declarations, and we'll talk about that next time. But right now, I want us to talk about the blending of the energy. So what I will be saying in 14 minutes is, may all who are part of Gaia or are part of Mother Earth be connected to and in perfect health, harmony, and balance with each other and with Gaia for the common good. Okay, so let's break that down. Um, so all who are part of Gaia, that's all living beings, no exceptions. Um, Including beings that are so unlike you that you have a hard time accepting them as living beings. Um, the earth is a living being, and if you speed it up, you can see it moving, changing, erupting, uh, vibrating. We don't see that because we're too sped up. Um, we're like mayflies to the earth. Doesn't mean that we're not alive. Um, when mayflies look at us, they see these solitary, sedentary, non-moving objects. Because to a mayfly, we move too slow. Um, so, number one, we're all alive. Number two, we're all connected. Okay, and so to recognize our inextricable connection to each other from the very beginning. Um, we are in perfect health, harmony, and balance. And what do we mean by perfect? Perfect means that all this stuff is flowing exactly as it should. Now, I that doesn't mean it's necessarily likable. Um, um, uh, while I was down in New Orleans and Atlanta and Baton Rouge, I got reintroduced to mosquitoes, and we are just so blessed out here by just not having them, or we keep them way out in the woods. Yeah, it was it's very pleasant walking around here and very unpleasant with the mosquitoes there. But we're still in relationship with each other. Okay. Um, and that relationship is every once in a while, I'm a meal for somebody. Okay. And I need to recognize as I eat life, life eats me. Now, I would like to have it so that um, my my being eaten isn't that inconvenient. Um, that my being eaten, it won't kill me. Um, my um, being eaten has some relationship. Experiencing one or two mosquitoes in a visit. I don't want to say this to the mosquitoes, but it's okay, you know. Um, Having 100 mosquitoes in a visit would be not okay. Having 1,000 mosquitoes in a visit could be deadly. Um, but we're in some level or some way of a dynamic equilibrium of health, of harmony, of balance. And if I can't um, coming into balance does not mean um, um, coming into balance does not mean coming into balance for me. It means coming into balance for life. And sometimes that means that I'm the beneficiary, and sometimes that means another being is the beneficiary. I don't know if you've been to I did this in Thailand, but there are other tropical countries that have these tropical fish, these little tiny tropical fish. Um, and you stick your feet into a tank of these fish, and they eat the dead skin off of your feet and your legs. If you've never done that, you're okay for not doing it. It definitely will change your attitude toward life when you realize that these beings, these tiny fish trying to get in between your toes, are doing you a favor. And you're doing them a favor. There's favors everywhere, and you are the food. Um, it's quite something. Um, so so when we clarify our energy, that my energy doesn't belong just to me. My energy is a continuum of hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, and the scientists are saying now trillions of separate beings, of separate and integrated beings. That once you realize that you are the focal point of a colony, you can treat yourself and treat others a different way. Because I was traveling this past week, um, I had some very interesting meals, almost all of them delicious, some of them toxic. um, and there several times I've had to apologize to this colony for what went into my mouth. And even the concept of it helps bring you into a closer sense of health and harmony and balance. Um, so let me spend a minute talking about the last part of the of our um, blending energies part of the meditation, um, where we're coming into health, harmony, and balance with each other and with Gaia for the common good. Now, again, unfortunately, we've been taught that the common good means money. That if I'm making more money, I'm doing well. If I'm not making more money, I'm doing poorly, and that becomes the litmus test that we use for the health of our economy and the health um, of our planet, of our nation. And that should not be the measure. And the reason I say that is that it doesn't it doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't get you where you need to go. Um, um, my question always is not what can I say about this, but how little I can say about it in the next 5 minutes. So when you look at your life, your energy, um, if you can separate out the money part of it from the life part of it, you will be really helping to build this new society and a new energy. Um, when I buy fish, I can go to Fred Meyer's and they put some on a scale and they'll weigh it and they'll wrap it up and I take it in and I eat it. Not before I recognize during that entire process that I am in relationship with the fish. If I don't have a relationship with the fish, I can just keep consuming, 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 and nothing happens. That is the definition of being a breaker. That I can act in the world and nothing happens to me. Um, we need to change that. We need to change that attitude, and that part of our catalyst meditation is to help us to change that attitude, to change the attitude to what is going to be good for us. And it doesn't necessarily mean what's good for our economy, what's good for, you know, for the right taste, etc. But we have to hold all of these things while we are saying to all of the beings, thank you. If we're the hippo in the river and we open our mouths, I'm benefiting these birds, but these birds are benefiting me. And I'm saying thank you. And by saying thank you, you change out of the relationship from I'm making money or I'm saving money, and you change into a relationship that says we are one and we're benefiting each other. One last thing before I'm moving into our get ready for catalyst meditation mode. You'll notice I walk through several different states, 8 or 9, 7 or 8 different states of how we can be in health and harmony and balance. We can be in the physical state, we can be in the emotional state, we can be in the relational state. How the relational state is how we relate to each other, how I relate to myself. We can be in the mental state, we can be in the spiritual state, the holonic state, how all of us become one entity, one meta entity. We can be in spatial and temporal states. It's interesting how some of us on the call are in Portland or the Portland area. Some of us are on the other side of the country, no, other side of the state, the country, the planet. Um, I don't think I'm looking at my list right now. I don't think we have any space aliens, but if there are any, please identify yourselves. um, and so, um, so our ability to see all of these states, to be in all of these states, and to um, bring ourselves into health, harmony, and balance goes a long way for us to recognize our commonality and also recognize the power that comes when we get our trillions of beings in our own bodies in gear and start moving forward in some direction. Okay, that's it for our time. And as I usually say, this was a monologue, not a dialogue. The dialogue part comes in when we get done with our catalyst meditation in a few minutes. And I'm hoping that we have a good conversation at that point. But right now, I need to do a few other things to get ready for the catalyst meditation. So I am going off camera and I'm going to do those things and I'm going to come right back in 1 or 2 minutes and we'll go ahead and get started. So I will be back in a second. Okay, let's get ourselves together and let's focus our energy in the meditation. Okay, so hello everyone, and welcome to this uh, version of our weekly Catalyst meditation. Welcoming those who have joined us today, welcoming those who are following on the outline, if any, and I don't see anyone right now. Um, and welcome to those who have been with us in the past on the weekly Catalyst meditation, but can't be with us today because of whatever reasons they have. They're still with us. So the first thing we do is center ourselves. And the way we do that is with our breathing app. We do a coordinated, um, synchronized breathing for a few minutes. And then we do a silent centering for a few minutes. So we're going to start our 3 minutes of our breathing app, and and we're starting that right now. So if you can breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in. And if we can continue our silent centering for a few minutes. If we can come back to our mutual center, we'll begin by setting our intentions. As the imaginal cells within the chrysalis come together to form the butterfly out of the disintegrated caterpillar's cells, we come together to form a gateway for the meta-consciousness of the mind of Gaia. We act for ourselves personally, and we act as aspects of Gaia, of Mother Earth. Holonic consciousness is a fundamental aspect of the universe. Every atom in the universe holds consciousness. It is always with us. We're acknowledging that now because many humans have forgotten, and many humans have been in denial. We act to reawaken our connection to Gaia for the benefit of all living beings. And we acknowledge our connection to all beings. This connection includes all humans, including our ancestors and including our descendants. All beings who thrive on and in the air. All beings who thrive on and in the water. All beings who thrive on and in the earth. All beings who thrive on and in our bodies. All beings that thrive on light, the beings of the plant realms. all meta beings, including the earth as a living meta being, air as a living meta being, fire as a living meta being, water as a living meta being, all colony beings, meta beings that are collections of solo beings. And this includes murmurations, colonies, schools, hives, pods, flocks, herds, migrations, swarms, and other colony beings, and all other forms of consciousness, known and unknown to us. Having acknowledged these beings, we now blend our energies. May all who are part of Mother Earth be connected to and in perfect health, harmony, and balance with each other and with Gaia for the common good. We are in perfect physical health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect emotional health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect relational health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect mental health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect spiritual health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect holonic health, harmony, and balance. We are in perfect spatial and temporal health, harmony, and balance. We are in the perfect place, at the perfect time, in the perfect conditions, and with the perfect beings. We set our declarations. We declare that Gaia, Mother Earth, is the ultimate governing principle, the way that humans govern their behavior on this planet, replacing all other forms of human governance. This is the way our behavior aligns with the will of the earth. We declare that humans are colony beings. We deepen and expand our human murmurations. We declare that Gaia, Mother Earth, is providing all necessary resources to achieve the vision of a world that works for all living beings. We declare that we are creating a political and economic system where all beings participate in it, all beings are in relationship with it, all beings own it, all beings benefit from it, and all beings govern it for the common good. We'll now meditate within the holonic energy of Mother Earth. We'll be listening for any messages we may receive. We'll be making any personal requests that we may have. And we'll be deepening and expanding our human experience of our human murmurations. And we'll do this for 8 to 10 minutes, starting now. Okay, if we can come back to our mutual center, we will conclude our catalyst meditation for this week with our inclusivity mantra. You can listen silently. You can repeat with me as you choose. May I be well. May I be secure. May I be happy. May you be well. May you be secure. May you be happy. May we be well. May we be secure. May we be happy. And may all beings be well. May all beings be secure. May all beings be happy. And so it is. And so it shall be. Thank you for joining us in this exercise. And this is the time when I shrink my window and I get my mup and drink my mushroom tea. And if you have something to drink, you should do that also. We can drink together. Well, let's classify the something. Water is great. Tea is great. Vodka too early in the morning. So I've got a couple of things that I'd like to share with you. I know that some of you have to go at the top of the hour, in which case we'll say goodbye. Um, um, I'm going to be doing another workshop in the near future, probably not this coming Tuesday, but probably the next Tuesday. And what I want to do is a whole workshop series so that you can plan in advance how you want to participate. I'm going to be pricing it so that it makes it easy for you to join the whole thing as opposed to the pieces of it. For those who have taken workshops with me before, I want to make it so that you can do it again as a refresher. Some of these have been some years ago, so I'm going to be refreshing myself, and you can refresh yourself also. Um, and I want us to be thinking about how do we activate what we're doing here. It's really easy for us to fall into a very comfortable rhythm and stay there. And that's not the goal of Commonway, not the goal of this catalyst meditation, not my own goal. So let's see how we stretch ourselves here. And part of that stretching of ourselves is uh, getting more out of the catalyst meditation. I've been thinking for a long time about, kind of what the next step is. And Mark Wallstrom, who is with us today, right there in my box, um, um, is actually moving faster than I am with regard to experimenting with the catalyst meditation where he is in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So we're going to hear from him a bit and find out what he's doing in Grand Rapids. And then I'm going to chime in a bit at what I'm planning on doing here in Portland, Oregon. And hopefully this will stimulate some of you to join in the process. I do have to say that um, uh, we heard from Greg Burrell last time, and Greg had to work today. So, yeah, these pesky things like work and children and stuff like that, they just get in the way of all the good stuff. Oh, and I checked one direction and I'm checking another direction. One of the things that I did, um, um, I'm doing it right now, and I probably shouldn't be. So one of the things I did this while I was on our southern coast is see with my own two eyes this being that claimed to be my great grandchild. Which way's my head going? um, I'm so when I had my first child, I remember going into her room while she was asleep. Um, there's nothing like watching a baby sleep. And this is as unconnected as you possibly can get. I mean, they are in another realm. And I used to watch her and just like, how does this work? I don't know, I don't know how the process works. Okay. And um and I remember the first time I held one of my grandchildren and was thinking, well, how does this work? You know, and so I had the opportunity this past Sunday to hold my great grandchild. And I'm like, how the hell does this work? And realizing that um, I am not in a relationship. And if I ever got in a relationship with a woman whose biological clock is ticking, I could have a child younger than my great grandchild. And I'm like, how does this work? You know, so I think that what you do is just smile through all of it and realize that on a logical, rational, conscious level, it does not work. Okay, so we're at the time now that we should be talking about our having our informal discussion. I'm going to ask Mark to unmute himself, and I'm going to put us in a spotlight and get us to talk about our kind of what he's doing um, in Grand Rapids and see how that plays out or may have some effect in your life. So, hi, Mark. And if you can kind of just walk us through for a few minutes what you've been doing with your group, and this may inspire some folks to put some people together in their location and do something similar.
Yes. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I think I'm speaking to the first time probably with Karen Becky and Deborah or Deborah, um, because the others on the line right now are familiar with what we've been doing in Grand Rapids, as I've shared that too. And Saxony is part of it in Grand Rapids. So to you three in particular, I'll just give you a little history. Sharif and I go back about almost 30 years. And after we met, I was interviewing him about his first book. And after that, I just had such an interest in what he was doing. We stayed connected through the years. Uh, some gaps in there of time raising our families and stuff like that. But eventually we came back together and picked up the conversation. And I was really struck by the current book, um, the Birthing the Nation of Gaia. It resonated so deeply with me because the work that I do with people through the years, um, transpersonal psychology is basically kind of a sense of helping people get out of breaker consciousness and see it for what it is and the effects of it. So, in coming back in conversation with Sharif, I realized, wow, there's more opportunities here. And in Grand Rapids, there's a church in downtown Fountain Street Church. It's a Unitarian Universalist church, and they have a history of doing a lot of very large, sometimes large, you know, projects to bring things into awareness in the community, women's marches and things like that through the years. So I've been a part of that community, and the recent election just brought a lot of, for some people, brought a lot of angst and internal tension and dissonance and things like that. And I did a talk at Fountain Street Church based a lot on my work, but also on Sharif's book, the idea that it looks like we have a lot of different problems going on that need a lot of different solutions. And you throw money at this and you do marches over here. But I, the audience I was speaking to, I said, um, I see it as one
Um,
problem.
I'm going to not in yeah, yes, I'm going to interrupt you. I just did. I'm going to speed you up because if
Okay.
you and I have talked about this before, and if you go through that timeline, there won't be any time for anybody else to say anything. So
Okay. I was going to move through it pretty quick, but I was doing it
five-minute
for
capsule
the
from
three
you.
that didn't have this background. But
Right.
what we've done in Grand Rapids is started a group focused on holonic consciousness. And we've had some discussions about Sharif's book, but we've also decided, hey, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to get intellectual and cerebral. We want to embody it. We want to live it. So in doing so, we come together a couple times a month, every other Thursday night, and we focus on what are some of the how do we see our lives moving toward and into holonic consciousness experiences? So we're actually trying to relate our lives in a manner that will reflect holonic consciousness as a lived experience. And the other thing that we're doing is we're talking about human murmuration. And human murmurations, how are they happening? In what manner do we see ourselves participating in them or co-creating those experiences? So it's really very engaging. And we also do the catalyst meditation that you just went through, only we stretch it out to about an hour and 15 minutes. Because every time we say a particular line, we then sit with that and meditate on that for a couple of minutes at least. Like when you think about meta consciousness of fire, what does that actually mean? So in sitting with it, we kind of get a sense of being able to go into that deeper. So That's what we've been doing in Grand Rapids, and it's really been, I think, activating a lot of new awarenesses and directions for those of us who are there.
I want you to say more about the expanded meditation. Um, when I was designing the Catalyst meditation, I designed it so that we would be finished in 25 minutes. And that's a pretty hard stop for a number of us that are doing the daily meditation. We are doing that on our jobs. So where we're doing it right before we start our work. And for some of us at 8 o'clock, I'm out of there. Or for some of us, it's it's between starting work and their lunch. So they're doing this as a taking a break, but you can't take a break for an hour and a half. But I know that when we have more time, it's possible to go deeper. So why don't you say a little bit about the depth that y'all are finding at an hour and 15 minutes?
Yes, that depth is simply allowing ourselves to drop into each one of those statements in a way where we have more time to just be with the singular part with more depth. Now, knowing that that time is not going to be there for everybody, this is something that we do, uh, and we've designated the time for that. But here's another thing that's come out of the conversation. People are saying, yeah, I can't do this other than when I come here because of my schedule, but sometimes I just, in the morning, even when I don't have time to do the 20-minute version, I will meditate on one aspect of the Catalyst meditation for the whole day. I'll just keep it in my awareness. I'll keep thinking about what's the meta consciousness of fire? What's the meta consciousness of water? And then you get to really kind of go into the dimensional qualities of that meta consciousness and find out more about your own interrelatedness with it, connection, how Sharif was talking about, we're not just gaining something, but we're giving something, and it's interdependence. And when I do that myself personally, it's, you know, it's it's really amazing
Mm.
what I come into contact with, what I come into awareness and remembering of.
Mhm. Um, Someone was saying, I don't remember who it was. I was going through I remember where it is now. Um, um, you've heard me talk about the telepathy tapes, and you've heard me talk about the amazing stories of the um, the autistic community, and their ability to see in realms that we can't see and have a hard time even understanding. And in the new revelation through the Veda Austin's work on water, it came up in that YouTube video that they were talking about clouds being conscious. Now, we I wrote it, I'm saying it every day. Um, all beings who thrive on and in the water, and looking at water as a living meta being. But I drew the line at clouds. I'm thinking about, like, water in a cup. I'm not thinking about water being bend it over our heads and we have this relationship. And Mark, I'm going to ask you to turn your sound off. I'm getting feedback here. Um, we have this relationship with clouds. I mean, how often when we have time do we just stare at the sky, at these clouds and say, "Wow, look at that one. Oh, what this one looks like an elephant." But we're not seeing them. So I had lots of time over this weekend, lots of airplane rides to be in the clouds. And um, it was uh, one of my thoughts was, are we ever going to get to the point that we can actually be uh, exercise the latent power that we are one and have collective knowing with all beings? I was at one point, we were in this zone, the plane was in this zone, and there were clouds below us and there were clouds above us. Okay. Different kinds of clouds. These are different beings made out of cloud. Okay. And I'm looking down and like, why are they lined up like that? What are they getting? It was like you could see the if those were human beings, they'd be doing a line dance. That's why they'd be lined up like that. Okay. Now, but what about those up there? So I mean, this is really, really powerful stuff. And I would love to have the opportunity to explore this in a really deep sense outside of the confine of um, um, 25 minutes. So you said that y'all were meeting every other Thursday. What time is that? What time are you meeting?
7 p.m. to 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern, 7 p.m.
7
Eastern.
p.m.
It's going to be what? Four?
Yeah,
4
4
p.m.?
o'clock, 4 o'clock Pacific.
Uh, see, we China solved its 9 time zone problem by having one, and just said Beijing time is going to be good for everybody. If that means that you have to wake up in the morning and we call that lunchtime, too bad. Um, but yeah, we can do something maybe. Um, it would be fun to do something and do something in two very different locations. Why don't you and I talk about that? Um, in the meantime, let me throw the floor open. Let's not throw the floor open. That we could fall in. Um, but yeah, let's see if there's anyone else who wishes to um, say anything. Um, and looks like it's not. Um, would any of you um, participate in a longer, not this meditation, but in a longer meditation at some other point in time during the week? Yay, nay, um, Well, those are the folks who are visible. Karen visibled herself so that she could put her hand up. Yay! Oh, Deborah is yay also. And that's a her ghostly hand appears in the non-visible realm. Okay, so I guess we got pretty much everyone. Um, I'll tell you what I'm thinking is that's always dangerous. Um, if you're doing it every other week, we could. Oh, I gotta tell you one more thing here. Um, we could switch up so that we could be you could be 7 p.m. your time, then I could be 7 p.m. my time on the opposite Thursday and get however many people we can to share via um, a hybrid. And I'm very interested in starting a hybrid here in Portland. Hybrids being a combination of Zoom and live um, entities. Um, let's think about the logistics of that. What would work and what would not work. Um, the notion of, again, the we were doing large scale work with the Shadow to Light program that Commonway was doing a number of years ago. Shadow to Light had a component that we call the visual meditation. It was very successful until it wasn't. Um, when we did this um, um, live, when I was conducting it live, at a given point, we would darken the room, and the instruction was, we're going to go to a meditation, but we're not going to close our eyes. We're going to keep our eyes open and keep your eyes open softly. You're not looking for anything, but are you will let the images wash over you. Um, and I would then put up a series of images. Some of those images were, pretty butterflies, kittens, that kind of stuff. And then some of them were very difficult. War, violence, people shooting up, drug abuse, and with every series of 5 or 6 images, um, the words would appear on the screen, and we in the room would say, "May all beings be well, may all beings be secure, may all beings be happy." Screen goes dark for 2 or 3 minutes, and then it comes up with a different set of images. Those images are on the screen, and then may all beings be well, may all beings be secure, may all beings be happy. And then you do that again. And this would go on for about 15, 20 minutes or so. Um, Now, when we were doing that live, everybody said, they were getting tons out of it. Um, some people were in tears. And again, if you were in tears, just go ahead and breathe through it and let that be. And we hold the energy of all beings being well, secure, and happy. So did that, very successful, no problem, until we tried to take it outside of our local group. Um, it did not translate into a larger realm. Um, I don't know why. And it as good as it was when we were local, it was that bad when we were trying to do this with other groups in other cities. Um, people were saying, yeah, I'm not getting anything out of this. This is boring. Um, um, I don't know why we're doing this. Uh, and I mean, so one of the things could be, and we talked about it, could be me. Like if I'm in the room, I'm holding a particular energy, and I'm holding that energy for the room, and therefore people get it in a different way. Since I've checked, I can't be everywhere at once. I'm sure Harry Potter has a spell for that. Um, but I don't have it. And I want to oh, Deborah, you're bye. I appreciate it when people let us know when you're leaving, so that we don't think that it's something I said. Um, and look forward to seeing you next time. Well, and actually looking forward to seeing you next time. So, so yeah, I wish we could find out what the problem was, because this was a very powerful tool that I've had to put on the shelf because I can't figure out how we use it. It could have been that the size of the images was affected. This is back when when live, I was using a projector and projecting onto a screen. So it was like the screen was screen size. Um, I had no control over that when we were doing it in other locations. Some of them were churches that had the projectors they use on Sundays, but it may be too far away from people. So what I want to do, and I'm making a commitment to doing this, is when is your next Thursday gathering?
It's a week from today, so it's on the 8th.
On the 8th. That'll give me enough time to okay, oh I can't um uh well, the 15th would be the right day to do this, unless we do it on the same day. And that way, um we could kind of do these both back to back. I tell you what, we're talking about logistics. We need to have a logistics talk, and we'll do that. Any other conversations that we want to have? Anyone have anything that they want to add to the catalyst meditation itself? Karen, your hand is up. Your digital hand is up.
Yeah, just a question in regards to your book, Birthing of a Nation. Does that get into the Hellenic, more into the Hellenic consciousness and okay. And
Mm,
what you mean by changing the energy itself and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
and I say that with a smile. I think it works. I've People have said that it works as a book, and um, as you know, all of your children are beautiful. So it's hard for me to pick between some of these kids I've birthed. Um, but there are people who say that creating a world that works for all and birthing the nation of Gaia are a pretty potent 1-2 punch, separated by 25 years, which is kind of interesting. Um, there are those who actually say they like birthing the nation of Gaia better. And I guess it's because I've been attached to but to creating the world that works for all for 25 years. I kind of bristle at that. I got a button to prove it, you know. But yeah, that's kind of where you would get it and see how it relates. It's hard because, well, I think all of my books have brand new concepts in them, and it's hard to get a grip on them. But grip we must. So that yeah, I would recommend it.
Thanks. Hmm.
Cool. Okay, I'm not seeing any other hands going up. Becky is either waving goodbye or she wants to say something. Yeah.
Yeah, early on, I think you were just kind of kidding about, oh, are there any aliens going to participate? And I assumed you meant off planet, that kind of aliens. Um, but that kind of got me thinking as we went into the meditation. And my sense is that there are other presence beings, not human beings, but others that are joining us in the meditation. Because I'm kind of sensitive to energy and
I was about to kind of wrap us up and okay, bye. And Becky's kind of drops a bomb in the in the center of the room here. Um, I'm going to give you a bomblet piece of my response. And if we want to, we can have a longer conversation. I don't, I'm not shying away from a longer conversation. It's just that I would like to prepare for it if we need a longer conversation. On the one hand, so this is my response. On the one hand, definitely yes, there are other beings other than human beings involved in this process. Also, there's not. Okay. Both of these things are true. And it's because we don't understand what we're dealing with. We're at the level, and I keep using Benjamin Franklin and the Wright brothers as examples of the pioneers who went before us that have created the world that we're in right now. If you had um, if you could take Benjamin Franklin and bring him to this my setup right now, 3 screens, people I'm talking to on this one and a frog looking at me on that one, and nothing at all on this one right now, but I could get almost anything on that one. He would not, he would think that this was magic. Okay. He would think that this would be a religious experience. Because we parse this stuff all the time, we don't look at the magical aspects of it. I believe that, well, I shouldn't say I believe. The process of latent powers is that we are able, once we activate the latent powers to talk, we'll be able to talk to people in our past and people in our future on a regular basis. Now, the folks that we're talking to in the future, we would be like Benjamin Franklin in front of my computer. Like, oh my God, where are you from? And we exist in multiple dimensions. I mean, the being that I call Sharif exists on other planets and other solar systems, etc. That's what they're doing. That's what they're there for. Okay. And we tie it all in. And so if there's other beings paying attention to this, it's because we're drawing their attention to it because we're doing it. Can I talk to them? Of course I can. Can I recognize them as me? With great difficulty. So I'll tell you a dream I had a couple of yeah, maybe about almost 10 years ago. And it was a series, and I hated dreams. When you're in a dream series, that means that you don't get you're not getting the point. So the beings that are me say, zap him again, see if he gets it this time. So, and the dream was very simple. I was in a I was in a conflict. I was in a battle. And the person I was fighting, I mean, literally fighting, fist fighting with, was myself. So I was in the dream and I was trying to kick and punch and stab and shoot this other being. Okay. And that other Sharif always had the advantage. He was always able to take the gun away from me. He was always able to block my punches and kicks. And a lot of times would just like kind of shove me out of the way. Uh, but never, I didn't, it took a while to realize this never hit me, you know. And I will not uh, tell you how long this lasted, but I got the what came to me at one point was, why are you fighting? What? And I was angry at him, but I couldn't tell you why I was angry at him. And then finally, it's like the resolution was when I, whatever that word means, became him. We just kind of went up. And then when I became him, it's like, oh yeah, I don't want to fight that kid. You know, I'm on a whole other level. Oh, the other, he looked better than I did. He was dressed better. He really he was a lot more confident, etc. And I therefore hated his guts. And so I have a guidance system that I use to get messages from, and that message system has been in place for me for about 35 years. Very, very reliable. And my teacher said, if all of your logic says go this way and your guidance says go that way, go that way. And that advice has never done me wrong. And it feels like another being. Feels like I'm being advised by space aliens or demigods or something, and it's all me. But a me I can't even begin to incorporate. So the stuff that we see in terms of the Pleiadians doing this and the Astro such and such is doing that, etc. It's all me. It's all you. It's all the colony. And we get to figure out what that means. And I'm still working on it. I'll let you know as far as I get down the road, I'll let you know because we all got to get down the same road here. And I don't remember if I said so. I say stuff in the daily group, and I say stuff in the weekly group, and maybe a monthly group. Who knows? And I'm trying to make sure we're all knitted together. Um, but I don't know if I talked about the science fiction story of that had the woman who was blind, but she was completely telepathic. So she could get through the world by just using other people's eyes. And she'd always dress really flashy so that people would look at her. And if they're looking at her, she could get through her life. So if she's having dinner with someone, she can't see the table, but they can see the table, and she'd pick up the right fork and she's cutting and she's doing all this other stuff. And in the story, she was a smoker. And so she'd put the cigarette in her mouth and she'd have her lighter in her hand, but she had to wait for somebody to look at her to be able to light her cigarette. Um, she's also a very, very bad person, and she was an assassin. And but she couldn't kill anybody without them looking at her. So she's in this battle and she's just screaming, "Look at me, look at me." Then people figured out her game. They were like, "Don't look at her, don't ever look at her." And that's how she got caught. Um, Um, so we will be looking at beings that we can't see. We will have to be able to see the world through their eyes. So I'm looking down at these clouds. And I should have taken a picture because it was really there are these puffy clouds that were like puff, 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 puff. And then there's another row, puff, 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 puff. Then there's another row, puff, and they're all lined up in rows. And I was trying to think, are the rows going this way? Are they going that way? Are they going that way? And I'm looking and looking and then saying, doesn't matter. I don't understand it anyway. But but look at how out of balance clouds and water can be. While I was in Baton Rouge, they were experiencing flooding, and this is the Mississippi River. It goes wherever the hell it wants to go. And the Army Corps of Engineers has not had a clue for 200 years on what to do with the Mississippi. Um, every time they get a clue, the Mississippi takes the clue away. So now, if we open our consciousness to the Mississippi as a being and say, where do you want to go? And say, how do we work together for the common good? Not for the good of humanity. How do we work together for the good of the river? The land, all the beings who are involved with the river and the land, okay? The land as a being. When we sit in that, I think we're going to come up with we're going to see a whole new way of looking at our ecosystems. And that's going to have nothing to do with all of the scientific spreadsheets and stuff like that. When you can talk to a cloud and ask the cloud not to come in this direction for another 2 or 3 weeks out while the water gets balanced out. Remember, for those of you who've seen my work with Ilarion, he's saying that indigenous people are saying that Mother Earth is about to kick butt. It would be really good for you not to have your butt in that location, you know. My friend Carl Anthony, who is, I guess I would say, the preeminent Black ecologist, he said, an earthquake is not a disaster. An earthquake is a naturally occurring event. The disaster is putting your house on the fault line. And we've been able to douse fault lines for hundreds of years. And we choose not to pay attention to it because we've got spreadsheets and computers now. And we're going to find out exactly how useful they are and Larian is saying the next 2 to 5 years, butt kicking time. And our job is to move as many butts as possible out of the way. Okay. I will be signing off unless there's another question or comment or thought. Giving Becky a chance to drop another bomb on us, right? Right before we leave, how about, what's the meaning of life? Okay. I look forward to us talking again in another week. And we'll see how we do some kind of a combined thing with Grand Rapids and see what's happening. Okay, thank you. See you. Fare thee well. Bye. See you all. Bye.